Hey everyone, Will McReynolds from KP9 Interactive. I'm going to talk a little bit more about tracking today. I've done a couple of videos on this, but I've noticed a couple of things over the years that many people might be doing that might not work the best for you. So everybody wants to get this kind of tracking, right? We can almost go on an extreme angle. You can have it really affixed to the page, being locked right on, go almost to those extreme edges, right? Now there's a certain point that you can't go to. Like obviously I can't go straight down flat and almost get there, and it does a pretty good job of holding on, but there's a certain point where it's going to lose tracking. So see a lot of people that might want to do something like this. Just that by itself would not make a good tracker. That by itself, just the text wouldn't make a good tracker. Neither would that, and most likely that. Now, however, this would make a good tracking. Now, what I did is I took a photo of this. Actually I scanned in my flatbed scanner and was able to do this. Let's just quickly do this. Turn on the volume here. So now if I come down an extreme angle, you'll notice that it's going to start being a little flaky, right? Now, if we had more information over in this corner, it would be a little bit more solid to track onto. Again, let's just illustrate this in the camera view. You see we have no information down in this corner, right? The more information you have for tracking, the better it's going to be for tracking this scenario. Now this is pretty good in my opinion for the ability to lock on. It's going to lose it a little bit on certain extreme angles like that because there's not enough information to lock onto over in this area here. When an image is a whole, when you start moving this, it just kind of skews this into computer vision, right? If I don't have anything over here to lock onto, it's going to get a little messed up and start flaking a lot more. If there's something over here to add on to, like maybe a QR code that could be part of the image, that would be great. Now, if you go to studio.worldcast.io and you go to use printcast, right off the bat, before you even start making your cast, you have a style guide. This style guide will walk you through bad versus good, high contrast, no extremely dark backgrounds, things that have a little bit more texture, nothing like, gradients and clouds. Just this kind of landscape picture would not be a good example. So you just go down the style guide and this will actually help you out. Now, once you start creating this, let's just go call this test. Well, let's go next. Let's go design in Canva. Let's grab something from Canva right now instead of uploading my own design, which I don't have one at the moment. So let's quickly grab something off Canva. Christmas has passed. Let's go to summer. I'm feeling want some warmth. All right, this looks good enough. Let's just, I could edit this, of course. I'm just going to go edit, send the printcast. So once you're in the next, if you read the style guide and you're comfortable bringing your image in, the metrics over on this side will help you understand what makes a good marker for tracking, recognizability. Now that's only if you're using the natural feature recognition instead of a QR code, but more on that later, and how unique the image is compared to other images you might be using in your database or compared to others if you're using the public-facing portal.worldcast.io. So those are the way, and again, we have the style guide. So if your trackability is down, you want to go style guide. Now, I'll link a video to what I've talked about before. It's an 18-minute long video, and I go over a lot more things than just this. But it is possible to get that really robust tracking as I illustrated. But if you just have the less detail you have, the less the computer vision has to lock onto, therefore the more shaky your augments are going to be. It doesn't really matter about the size of the object. Now, what does matter, if you start putting something out further away, and if there's any kind of shake at all, the more it is away from the center or the tracking image, the more noticeable it's going to be shaking around. And that's kind of what you want to avoid as well. So I hope that kind of helps shed some light on what not to use. Don't use weak, just something in a general area, just low detail. Text really does not make for a good, this would not make for a good tracking image at all in many ways. There's not a lot to grab onto. Same as this kind of scenario. Don't use this kind of stuff for tracking. Use a solid image with lots of contrast and lots of hard edges that, the computer vision can differentiate between an object and actually recognize something versus blobs or just gradients or something of low texture or low contrast. So I can't wait to see what you create. Another thing I've noticed is that people, when they're first trying out printcast, they've never used it before, right? So it's called printcast, business cards, flyers, magazine ads, anything that has print, billboards, wall murals, things like that. What I see happen is people will take a shot of the environment that's in front of them, right? So they'll take a shot and they'll upload that to printcast as their target marker. Well, what happens is the odds of you getting that exact spot, anything that's off, it's even over here. Watch. If I go off a little bit, that changes the marking, the tracking, right? That little bit of parallax. Any little minor movement over here can radically change the background image, changing how things are going to track in the environment. A 3D environment is not the same as a 2D tracker, okay? So don't upload a picture of your environment. Don't take a picture of your environment, upload it to PrintCast, and then expect it to work, because it's not going to. It's like, unless you get to that exact, even if it comes up line up image on as it does in the studio, or in the Pro rather, the odds of you getting that exactly the same is not going to happen. Any little minor movement that you have is going to constantly change the background. If anything moves in that background, that's going to impact the tracking. So don't use an image that you've taken with your phone and expect to line up in reality. You won't get good results, if anything at all. So with all that in mind, watch the video that I have in the comments below, and I can't wait to see what you create.